I want to talk about the guys in the thumbnail of this video, myself included. One of the first things you'll notice is that we're very lean and shredded. This is different than muscle growth. This is more about displaying the muscle you have. And I can say I'm a good example of how lean you can get naturally over 50. But if your goal is to build muscle, then you don't want to be this lean. Okay, next I got to talk about Mike O'Hearn. He's 54 years old, claims he's natural, and has been drug tested a lot. Never failed a test, but his fat-free mass index is around 27, which is a full 2 points over what's considered naturally possible for the genetically gifted, making him a poor example of what the average guy over 50 can achieve. But something that's a good indicator of how much muscle you can naturally add is health. Maximizing our health reduces the amount of age-related decline we experience, allowing us to build muscle like a much younger man. The good news is resistance training not only promotes muscle growth, but improves our health. In my last video, we looked at how a combination of aerobic and resistance workouts enhances health. I'll leave a link to it in the top comment. Before we leave the topic of health, we should talk about testosterone. It's a primary hormonal driver of muscle growth, and statistically, it goes down as we age. But research is discovering it's more connected to health and body composition than age. Again, I'll leave a link in the top comment to a video that explains this further. Next, let's talk about genetics, including muscle and bone structure. Philip Ricardo Jr. is the guy in the thumbnail I haven't talked about. I picked him because he's the same height as me and a natural Masters Olympia champion. This is a different competition than the Mr. Olympia you typically hear about. To compete in the Natural Olympia, you must be drug tested. Not just before the competition, but you have to agree to be randomly tested throughout the year to the World Anti-Doping Agency standards. He's 5'9", and his competition weight is between 175 and 80 pounds, which for a natural is a big guy. It's commonly thought African Americans can build muscle better than Caucasians. But is this true? I found a few studies indicating they naturally have more muscle mass, with one study stating it was about 5% more than us white guys. I only found one study related to muscle growth, and it found no difference between the race's ability to build muscle. But in my opinion, it wasn't the best study, and there's room for more research on the topic. It could be broken down even further. For example, there's an exceptional amount of strongmen that come from Iceland, and they have a reputation for being a big and strong people. Even over 50, our genetic heritage matters and indicates how much muscle we can build, although not as important as consistent, hard, and progressive training. Muscle insertions affect how big an individual muscle can grow. The two most common ones that are talked about are calf and bicep insertions. If you have high calves, it'll be much harder to build that muscle. With biceps, when you flex your arm, the less distance between your forearm and the start of your bicep peak, the better your genetics for building big biceps. A 2-fingered space is considered average, and that's what I have. This can happen with any muscle. Our lats can have high or low insertions. Those with low lat insertions are able to build bigger and fuller backs. Now, just because we have one area that doesn't have good insertions doesn't mean our whole body's that way. One of the things they've known about assessing potential muscle growth for a long time, and even Steve Reeves talked about this, is bone structure. The larger or thicker your skeleton, the more muscle you can build. Casey Butt has done the most research on this and has developed a calculator using our wrist and ankle measurements to help us determine our natural potential. The calculator isn't perfect, as it's based on elite-level natural bodybuilders from 1947 to 2010, and there's no guarantee that these people didn't lie about steroid use. Menno Henselman has a version of the calculator, and I really like it. We'll put my stats in and see if the results make sense. I'm currently about 13% body fat. This is another weakness in the calculator, as fat percentage is always an estimate. It asks for my desired fat percentage, so I went with 10%. My height is 5'9", and I weigh 161 pounds. My wrist circumference is 7 inches, and my ankle circumference is 8 1/4. Then it asks for my torso, upper arm, forearm, neck, thigh, and calf measurements. And this is what I thought was fun. It not only shows how much muscle I can potentially gain, but what areas are over and underdeveloped in my body. The only area on me that's overdeveloped is my neck. And many of you commented on my traps in the last progress picture I posted to my community page. with the rest of my body being between 2 and 3% underdeveloped. It states my natural maximum weight would be 183.8 pounds at 10% body fat. I'm a couple years away from 60, so I don't suspect I'll reach this body weight before then. I see 165 to 170 pounds at 10% body fat as a more realistic goal, bringing my fat-free mass index between 22 and 23. Now this is something we didn't discuss in this video, and we'll have to save it for another time, because what's more important is how we build muscle steroid-free over 50. To find this out, watch this video next and keep working out while having fun. This is Lawrence from Fit and 50. We'll talk to you again in the next one.